Hello, fellow robots out there in internet land. I am Sobertron, and welcome to the next episode of the TekTopia Survival Guide. After much wait by myself, we will finally get started on my favorite villager in this whole game, the Druid. He is an amazing guy who will repair your mines, he'll grow crops, and he'll make trees grow faster. He's all around awesome. And we'll talk a bit about the Enchanter too. He's kind of cool too. He gets us mending books. I'm pretty much recording this next episode immediately after the last one. I did make 6 nitwits so we can do some things in this episode a little quicker. And I also kind of started to show how this space is going to work with these 4 buildings here. So the plan here is to eventually expand on this library. It's going to take up this entire room, and actually the town hall once I move it. And we should be able to increase the size of our school in this space as well. Hopefully I can double the amount of children that can attend. Currently only 6. Hopefully we can get that up to 12. And the reason why I want to turn this whole space into one big library has to do with our current library. So right now we only have 14 bookshelves in there. Now, villagers will read in the library about once every 3 days. So if you take the amount of bookshelves you have on the floor in there, which right now, like I said, 14, multiply by 3, we get a number of 42. Ooh, answer to life, universe, and everything. Awesome. So once we get to a population of 42, that library is going to be a little inefficient. We currently have 38, so we're getting close to needing this bigger library. But enough about that. Let's talk about the Druid. So our friend the Druid, like I said, grows crops, grows trees, and the biggest reason is because of the mine. My mine is getting a little bit overworked. I'm running out of space down there. So I'm going to go down there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're heading down to the mine right now, and you can see here, just in this little area, it's completely spent. I even dug down here. I actually had 2 villagers dig us this little path all the way down to the other village border, and you can just see spent mine shaft after spent mine shaft. Even the tokens I have up over there, they're done. So what I wanted to do is show you a tip to help your druids gain levels quicker without the miners interfering. So what I've done is set up a few mine shafts here. Now all of these are spent. But what we're going to do is all the way at the end of the mine shaft, we're going to place a few coal. You can use any block. I think ores are a little bit more efficient. Miners don't tear through them as quickly, and they will eventually leave. So just in case they actually end up in this mine shaft, they're going to only be there for a few seconds. And as you can see, that token reactivated. So this is only part of the process. The other thing we want is we don't want miners in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all those other tokens down a few more mine shafts, and that should be more incentivizing for our miners to go after. Miners will tend to go towards the shortest tunnel before going to a longer one. So I'm going to do this, and then head over to our nitwits and convert some druids. So the dawn is fast approaching, and I want to get this done really quickly before it's morning. So I've looked at all the villagers already, and this guy has the lowest intelligence, and I'm going to make him our enchanter because they will level up quickly just by making paper. But for now, let's convert one of these guys and go over the AI. So druids are fairly simple. They only have a few tasks. So just like all of the villagers, they read in the library and visit a tavern. There are other tasks, earth reform, which is what they use to regrow mine shafts. Now, as your druid progresses and they get better with their skill, they will be able to repair more and more of the mine shaft. I think it starts at 1 column at a time, and I want to say it can be up to 5, so 10 blocks, which is really cool. Now, druids will replace ore in your mine shaft equal to the distribution at Y11. Not 100% sure how that math works out, but I'm sure there's a wiki out there that explains everything. The other things they do is casting growth, 1 for crops and 1 for trees. Now, during beta, the villagers would follow kind of a daily schedule. They would do crops in the morning and crops and trees in the morning and the mines at night. And one thing I noticed and ended up recommending to Tango that he implemented was it be a little bit more variable. What I was noticing during beta was that all of my crops, because the druids went there in the morning, they were not grown at night. I had so many farmers that were just tearing through them. They couldn't do anything in the morning up until the druid showed up and regrew them. So now they're on a variable schedule. They will pick either the mines, the crops, or the trees, and then they will go to work, and then throughout the day they will just change their task and do something else. Uh, so let's just talk about the Enchanter. So the Enchanter, he does a lot of things. He'll enchant all your gear, your tools. He'll make paper, he'll make books, and he will enchant the books as well. Let's talk about him for a second. So as you can see, he does a lot of things. Crafting book is his first thing. Paper, if there's paper available, and leather available, he will craft a book, and then enchant book. With the enchanting books, he will go into overdrive with this. As long as he... Ooh, a heart, TA. He will go into overdrive with this, and he will eventually take up a lot of your storage space. So do not let him enchant books until you really have the space for it. So I'm going to turn off all the enchanting of the diamond stuff because it's just unnecessary right now. And I really don't want him enchanting tools at this stage. What I want him to do is I want him to level up just by crafting paper and just by making books. Let's grab this heart really fast. Oh, dang it. I'll find that later. The other thing is the Enchanter, as his skill increases, he'll be able to craft better and better books. So like he's good at level 1 enchants right away. He can get you like efficiency 1, efficiency 2, things like that. And as he approaches level 100, he will start crafting the books you really want, to include the mending book, which will hopefully make our AFK Fisher a little obsolete, and I won't have to use it anymore. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the game run. I'm going to build a little bit off that, and I'll be back with you shortly to hopefully see this trick work. So as you can see, the trick is working, and quite nicely. Our druids are repairing the tunnels that are the longest, and our miners went straight back there to our new mine shafts we made because they kind of work inverse. Druids will repair the longest tunnels, miners will mine the shortest tunnels. So using this trick, you can get your druids and your miners separated from each other when you're first getting druids to help them level, and so that the miners really aren't conflicting with them. So as you guys can see, I kind of did a thing back there. I was going to just do a little bit, and then I just got into a rhythm, and I decided, let's just do the whole thing. We'll look at that in a moment, but for right now, I wanted to show a couple things with the Druids and Enchanter when it comes to your storage. So similar to the blacksmiths, the Enchanter will make a finite amount of both books and paper. So what I tend to do, because you can trade both those items to the merchant, is just like we're doing with the tools that our blacksmith makes. We move some items down in underneath this chest. That way our villagers can still access a bit, and then we have a nice little stockpile to trade with our lovely merchant friend. The other thing is, once you have druids, you will start to really go through torches. So if you are supplying your villagers with torches, I highly recommend that you always have some extra on hand and come back every so often and check this chest. If you're not, then don't worry about it. Your miners and your blacksmiths will make them for you. But if you are, just make sure you're checking that as soon as you get a bunch of druids. So right now, I actually want to go into spectator mode just to show you guys how the druids have been working out. Whew, wow. That is a lot of bad mine shafts. Anyway, if you look down here, you can see that our miners actually have started to come and work on these tunnels that the druids have repaired. Wow. Dude, you are so lucky right now. You are so very lucky. But they're going back and forth now. The druids sometimes are over here, sometimes they're down here at these other mine shafts, but they're kind of maintaining a nice short distance between them. So we've got a pretty good ratio of druids and miners at the present moment. Sometimes you'll notice that your mine shafts will start to go away again. They'll start to run out of, become invalidated essentially, and can't type. And that's a good indication that you probably need to add some more druids, because you got to remember these guys are doing multiple things that are all making your village much more effective. So now let's go look inside. So I've connected everything up, but I still haven't torn down these walls or even modified the roof line of these other structures. I'm going to do that probably off camera at a later date. This is really the core purpose, though, for me up here. This is going to be my player storage room. I'm going to line the walls with some chests, move that junk from outside the town hall, and hopefully make this place look a little bit nicer. The other thing that I find handy with this design is that it gives you a nice observation platform. You can look out across pretty much your whole village, and this is going to come in handy once we start to tackle the necromancer, because we have clear line of sight to all the corners of our village. So as soon as we see that guy spawn in, we can search for him really quickly. But that's about it for today, guys. I really hope you liked today's episode. As I said last time, if you have any questions about the mod, just throw it down in the comments or hit me up on the public Discord. The link is always in the description below. But you guys have a good day.